How's it going, folks? So here we are, and okay, 1 second. How's it going, folks? So, as promised, here's a little bit of a presentation around self-sabotage, right? And more importantly, what to do about it, okay? So, to give us a little bit of context in what we're talking about here. So, the first session we ran last night, okay, I asked everybody if you could get anything out of this session, what would it be? Okay. So, it appears, right? We've a lot of people in business, music, copywriters, okay, self-employed people. So this self-sabotage presentation will have a little bit of a flavor around business self-promotion, that kind of thing, money blocks. So this is what people were asking about last night, okay? Or this is what ye were asking about, okay, if you were on the call. Okay, asking for more ease and abundance to get out of your own way, more clarity for the direction of your business, more robust good health, more energy, more money. So increasing self-belief, overcoming self-doubt and the slowness of getting started in business, less self-criticism, eliminating the blocks stopping you from moving forward in business. And then I'm not sure what IA is, but massive leap forward for 2023, I imagine. Okay, Joe, maybe let us know what that is. Is that a musical thing? Okay, so all of this requires self-promotion. Okay. So that's the context. If you're not aware of what I do, I usually work with executives, creatives, business leaders. Okay. And it's all around the subconscious mind. It's not more doing, do this, do that. It's actually Release the Brakes is a book I read recently, and it's really about getting out of your own way. Okay, so it's quite pertinent to what we've been speaking about last night. Okay, so you're looking for the higher levels of productivity, creativity, happiness, more well-being. You know what I mean? Less procrastination, less anxiety, less perfectionism. Okay, so you can get the improved finances and better health, better mental health, better physical health. Okay, because a lot of stuff will present as physical problems as well. Okay, so how did I end up doing this? I won't go into too much detail. I won't give you my backstory. But for the last few years, I was focused on anxiety, depression, addictions, trauma, self sabotage. Okay, for a few years. Ended up being extremely good and successful at that because, a little bit of my history is I haven't drank for 17 years. I drank alcoholically for about 16 years. And so because I have the mind, that kind of wiring, I was able to help people at all levels of addictions, anxiety, depression, all this kind of stuff, burnout. I experienced autistic burnout in 2016. I wasn't even aware that I was autistic. You know what I mean? So there was a huge amount of stress, unresolved trauma, and all that kind of stuff, all in my cells. And when I started working with the subconscious aspect of myself, I found I moved the needle massively quickly. Okay. So then I was able to help professionals who were at these amazing heights, but they just weren't happy. You know what I mean? They had programming in there that wasn't serving them. So because of that, they were exhausted, stressed, wasting too much precious time, energy, and money trying to feel better. Okay. Maybe their lives looked amazing on the outside, but despite their smiling faces, kind of their eyes weren't smiling. You know what I mean? Maybe something was off. They just weren't enjoying the wealth and the success, quote unquote, that they'd built up over years. And I was looking at all that and I was like, wow, if only they harnessed the power of their subconscious, they could change all that. Okay. So I started helping these high level clients, but I didn't offer coaching. If you do this, then XYZ, because they were already doing that. Okay. They'd already tapped out from doing all that, all the crazy morning routines, talk therapy, bulletproof coffee, blah, 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 blah. and it just wasn't working. Okay, I've did all that. I've done all that, bar the endless exercise. I'm a bit of a sloth when it comes to all that. Um, but I have done a mix of all that to try and break out of cyclical self-destructive thoughts and all that kind of stuff. So I've done my own blend of it. So I've been there with all that. And I got that, me showing them to do even more of that just wasn't going to work, So we worked directly with the subconscious to just, again, remove all the blocks that were there. And we can get into that in a little while, okay? But before we do, let's have a look at the subconscious mind. Okay, and the easiest analogy, you might have seen this before. I use it quite a bit. It's on my website, but it's an app on your phone that is working, but it's slow and buggy because it's outdated. Okay, it's inefficient, frustrating to use. But then if you update that app to the latest version, it immediately becomes faster, easier to use. Okay, it looks and feels totally different, runs better in every way. And your brain is like that too, okay? So believe it or not, there's stuff in there, old programming that you may not even be aware of. Some of the stuff could be from childhood. Some of the stuff could be in there from 14 generations back in your DNA, encoded in there. And we have other ways of picking up information that does not serve us as well. It's held in our energetic field, our aura, if you like, or quantum field, if you like. Okay. So because of all this, no matter what you do, okay, if this programming is in your field, in your cells, in your DNA, in your subconscious, it's a very difficult thing to overcome. Okay. You might be pushing hard, but you don't get anywhere. It's like trying to move a mountain. Okay. So all the doing in the world won't be enough. Okay. So if you're being, at least 95%, right? At least 95%. Your energy field, your DNA, it's much more than 95% if you ask me. But the general consensus, to quote Dr. Bruce Lipton, is like, 95% of your decisions are made automatically by your subconscious each and every day. Okay. So that's why we clean out the mental junk that's holding you back. Okay. Because all the doing in the world is just a waste of time. And when you release all the unhelpful patterns, all the barriers, past traumas, stresses that are sticking you, so much good stuff comes in to occupy that space. Okay, you may have experienced that last night in the session, okay? Because when we had the birds taking away everything that you no longer need, it created this huge space for all that beauty and light and all of those concentric circles that were spreading out to the banks of the lake. It's all that beauty, And if you think about that visualization, it is basically an analogy to allow the subconscious to pick and choose all of these beautiful programs that are going to come in and replace all the junk that was cleared out. And all of these things are going to serve you over time. Okay. Be interested to see how everyone's feeling today. But it's like if you look at it, last night is when we changed the programming. Today is your first day of that. And then as time goes on over the next few days, weeks, months, years, and all that kind of stuff, the compounding effect of what we did last night will be serving you. Okay. So much good stuff comes in. And this process brings in money, confidence, calm, alignment, peace, and so much more. Okay. Everything that you're looking for, the subconscious will put in there for you. Okay. So, sorry, this slide thing. I'm not 100% familiar with using it. It's a really lovely app, actually. It's called Gamma. Really nice mix between slides and a Word document. Anyway, so there you go. So this is the whole change your mindset trope, which, you see everywhere, right? You see mindset coaches who aren't really mindset coaches. They're Facebook advertising agents. And they've pegged on a mindset thing. So it's only one part. Okay, just realize mindset is only a small part of the overall conversation and equation. Okay. The other factors, like I've already mentioned. So you got your mindset, your set of beliefs, then your subconscious, which is running most of your daily decisions and bodily functions, at least 95%, if not more. Okay. I've mentioned genetics, information, or DNA goes back 14 generations. And sometimes that makes me smile. Is it information for living your best life as an influencer, or is it actually just staying alive? Going back 1,000 years ago, I wonder. And then your energetics. Okay. Are we functioning in low vibrational energy in activities? That's really important, because if you're in a low vibrational energy, then you're only going to attract more low vibrational energy things. Okay. Whereas if you're in a high vibes only, toxic, high vibrational energy, if it's genuine, your vibe, when you meet someone, they're just like super high vibe, and you're like, whoa, you feel energetically charged by them because it's infectious in a good way. Okay, so if you're in that high vibrational energetic state, then you're going to be pulling in more high vibrational energy. So good things will come to you. Okay. So all these factors combined, are we connected to source? Are we actually conscious, or are we living on autopilot? Okay, have we been dulled down by toxins? So toxins in your environment, what your body is taking in, what your cells are taking in through whatever it is that you have in your environment. It could be your diet, it could be, what you surround yourself, people you surround yourself with, the news, quote unquote news programming. I would say kind of reality TV, you know, Coronation Street. A lot of. If you look at, I'm struggling to even remember names of these TV shows. Coronation Street sticks out. EastEnders, all of these things. They're so depressing, and they're usually centered around pubs where people go and drink, right? And if you drink on a regular basis, even 2 to 3 drinks changes your energy, So never mind what it's doing inside, it actually changes your energy, you know? And then you're taking an energetic downgrade when you're drinking alcohol. And then, basically you're attracting lower energetic things, phenomena into your reality. Okay. So dulling yourself down by taking toxins into your body, just not a good idea. Okay. And even though it may sound like woo woo, working with all of these factors together is massively important. Okay. So again, what you put out into the universe, you get back. And obviously, we got to take aligned action. So the whole thing, getting out of your own way, stop holding yourself back. This is kind of a crux here. You really have to want the result on all levels, not just consciously, not just by changing your mindset, so you need to recode the DNA, allowing your subconscious to recode it and to release all of that junk programming that you've taken into this reality from generations back in your energy field, just allowing all that to shift and change and move. Okay. You may have seen me talk about this before in an email, promos, website, all this kind of stuff. I've seen this happen for clients, just huge financial benefits from people who are recording their week to week turnovers. They're very much focused on the numbers and just like, whoa, where did that 30% bump come from? Because I didn't do anything. I just basically stopped refusing the success on deeper levels that they may not have even been aware of. Okay, it wasn't something they consciously did. They didn't start doing promo posts. They didn't start putting out emails or actually organically contacting people to work with them, but people started contacting them. Okay, so all of this stuff is happening on an unconscious energetic level. Okay, so when we work on those levels, maybe the hidden possibilities and opportunities that were previously hidden start showing up in life and business inexplicably. Okay. And it may seem like magic, but it ain't. it's energetics at play. Okay. So again, just beware. There are lots of surface level mindset fixers who will just kind of give you a couple of tweaks. And maybe they'll work for a good way of looking at something in business that will actually change things. But it's overall, you need to be aware of the bigger picture and approach this holistically. Okay. And like I say, when I see it offered as an add-on by loads of coaches, influencers, gurus of whatever it is, unrelated to that topic, uh, I generally tend to run a mile. Okay, so we're looking at the bigger picture here. Okay, not to go down a rabbit hole here, like I've already mentioned, the Rovers return for people who know Coronation Street. Can't remember the pub in EastEnders. If you think about Friends, they're all sitting in a coffee shop. You know what I mean? And coffee, basically, coffee can turn off up to 50% of the blood flow to the brain as well. And they're there with these massive cups of coffee, just drinking loads of it, and they're totally programmed for poverty. I think Joey at some stage becomes successful, but he's miserable. You know, and he only becomes happy again when all of his success is stripped away from him, and then he takes back to the lazy boy and just starts wasting his life away again. And then it's like, now I'm comfortable. So once you've seen it once, you see it everywhere. Okay, so you got to reverse this. So whether that's you're using audiobooks, you start surrounding your subconscious mind, you start flooding it with quote unquote, inspirational, energizing, supportive content. Okay. Could be audiobooks, more education, proper education, not indoctrination like we get at school. Okay. Seminars, coaches, coaching, courses, programs, all this kind of stuff. Okay. And you can do this at a very low cost, because we want to break out of the programming, okay, that tries to create us as being average, docile, compliant, and obedient. Fuck all that shit. You know what I mean? Pardon my French. Just that's something that just really, really boils my piss. You know, because I experienced it. I'm not sure if you did, but from a very young age, we're being programmed at school. Obedient workers, do your XYZ, follow the orders. We're not looking for successful independent entrepreneurs here. There's a focus on rote learning, not critical thinking whatsoever. Okay. So even the quote unquote smartest, the ones that are able to jump through the hoops, they're leaving university with no idea how to monetize their skills. I mean, for themselves, okay, they can always go and get a job. Maybe if they've studied business, they can go out on their own. But actually, this is many coaches work in self-development and other non-business areas, so they don't have a clue to actually make money. Okay, so that's coaching specific, but you can look at it as if you're a copywriter, if you're a musician, if you build websites for people and funnels, if you provide services, if you work in distribution, whatever you're doing, okay, the system itself, right, isn't supportive. You have a corporatocracy, okay? It's supportive of a few huge businesses that are linked in with government, okay? But what we saw over the last few years was small businesses, individualistic interests. They're not part of that structure, okay? The system needs drones, not free thinking individuals, and it's designed to produce them, okay? So think about all the businesses you saw destroyed, while Amazon made $1 billion in one day, that kind of stuff. And then maybe think about the commonly held family and community beliefs about money, including many religious beliefs. I'm not religious, by the way. I just was exposed to all this when I was very young. Okay. So you had, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Okay. That was taken out of context, and we were presented with money is the root of all evil. Okay. So it was like that was totally taken out of context. And by craving money, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. Okay. So even if you're not even listening to that as a child, you're doodling, your subconscious is listening. Okay. It's been misinformed. Okay. And it's again, Jesus, he's doubling down here and he's saying, if you want to be perfect, go sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you'll have treasure in heaven. I'll give you an IOU. Okay. Then come follow me. Okay. Another one here. Truly, I tell you, it is hard for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I tell you, repetition, right? It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. You know, I heard that so many times when I was a child, and obviously, it's set up programming, it's set up poverty programming because I suffered for many years. I would blow all my money and not allow myself to accumulate anything. I wouldn't allow myself to accumulate property. Could have been so easily done. I just didn't allow that in. Nor was I perfect. No possessions, gives to the poor. Just okay. Everybody else except me got my money. So I get that some of the poor got as well. So there's a lot of all this stuff being backed up, all these false beliefs, fears of lack and scarcity, right? Programming woven into our programming again through common thought, right? Most people are thinking this. So the community is thinking this. Hell, your parents are even thinking this. And it's fueled by news, media, movies, okay? There aren't enough resources on the planet, Eating meat is evil. You go vegan for the planet because there isn't enough. Well, actually, it's not actually being managed correctly. If it was being managed correctly, then that would be a different proposition entirely. Okay. Money's hard to get, needs to be hard. Again, I've already mentioned Friends. On TV, Hollywood, you see rich people are evil motherfuckers. Poor people are happy. Okay. If you think about Billy Zane in Titanic, he was just such an asshole, boring, nasty, evil. But poor people are caring, funny, and happy, like Jack. Jack got his way onto the boat. You won a ticket. He had the care in the world, compared to all of these horrible, boring, nasty, evil, rich people who were, stepping over women and children to get onto the boat. And there was supposed to be all women and children on the boat. In fact, Billy Zane took a child. He's all I have in the world, and got onto the boat and then kicked the child off to the other side of the boat. Just get away from me, whatever. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating slightly. It's just, he was just a nasty character. So the whole programming is best to be poor. Look at the fun they were having down in the third class. They were just basically high on diddly idle music, alcohol, and the odd potato. Okay, they just had no money. But look at the joy that they were having, the ecstasy through the ecstatic dance that was happening versus, the misery that they had up in the upper class. Okay. But loads of people buck that trend. Okay. Become self-made business owners, and that is fantastic. Okay. But depending on the niche where you want to go with your life, you can create the possibility to create limitless earning power. You can charge whatever fees you want. You can create your own programs, courses, digital products, memberships, all of that stuff. And that's like having a magic money making machine. Okay. But there can be a lot of hesitation to charge your worth. I see it all the time. Okay. Some self-doubt, not enough confidence, not enough self-love and trust. Okay. So why is that? Well, here are some common subconscious blocks that hold us back from promoting ourselves. Okay. This could be in any kind of business. It can be that we don't allow ourselves to become hyper focused on that one thing. That one thing you become known for. Okay. This is the inch wide, mile deep approach. Instead, you kind of allow yourself to be, pulled along in different directions. You don't anchor in on that one thing that you can go really deep on. You become somebody that needs to be, all things to all people, and that can spread you thin. There can be a fear of actually niching down, becoming known for that one thing. I'm guilty of it myself. So for me, it was like anxiety, depression, addiction, self-sabotage. But then I found that the messaging was bringing me the wrong clientele, if you like. Then I changed my messaging. I got into more high performance. I resonated with people who found that they're not so interested in actually going to therapy. But depending on how it was presented to them, they ended up getting just massive results from working with me. Anyways, I digress. But many individuals don't value themselves and their experience on a deep level because they found they actually have spread themselves thin. They actually have spread themselves thin. They don't actually have the expertise that they should have and would have had if they'd gone so super deep, right? And, on many levels, if you truly don't have that self-belief in what you're offering the world, this actually shows up energetically in all your communications, okay? Readers or viewers will pick up on this in unconscious information, okay? They'll pick up on it intuitively and they'll be repelled, okay? So here are some common blocks that cause this information to be transmitted, okay? Comparison to others, I'm not good enough, lack of confidence, fear of failure. And then the irony is that, then you will fail, because if you have that fear of failure, you'll create that, okay? And then the low self-belief that the failure will create will loop. See, I've just proven that I'm going to fail. And once you're stuck in that, oh man, then you're into that fear of success, okay? And it's not actually fear of the success itself. It's a fear of all the things associated with that. If I'm successful, my family will shun me because they'll be intimidated. My friends aren't successful, so I won't be able to hang around with them. If I'm successful, there'll be all this pressure on me to maintain that success and keep it going, So there are lots of different factors. It's not that the success itself is scary. It's everything associated with that. Maybe you don't want that responsibility. Maybe you don't want to be a leader or a thought leader that you see vomited all over LinkedIn, for example. So these feelings of inadequacy and unworthiness, it's called imposter syndrome. And all of these anxieties about making mistakes, especially in public, fear again, more fear from perfectionism, that can actually keep you totally stuck. You're just frozen, and that can lead to procrastination and just not taking the action that you need. Okay. So see the trend here? All of these things are functioning from fear. Okay. But if we function from love, not the kissy, holdy hands, it's like universal, infinite love. It's an energy. And if we're functioning from fear, then we're not functioning from love. Okay, it's as simple as that. We can choose to flip it. Okay, so now let's go on to the next slide, if it will allow us to. So we're going to clear these, okay? Tomorrow night, we've got that session around self-sabotaging beliefs. And we can go another level deeper, okay? And we can clear things like, I'm not good enough to put myself out there. You look at Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins isn't qualified, by the way. He just found a formula. He has the confidence. He put himself out there. I mean, obviously, he has a massive marketing machine behind him, but he's not qualified. So many people think, oh, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And other people go, well, I have a PhD and stuff like that. Yeah, but I have a really shit energy. So it's like you find what works for you. You know, so many people are much better than me. Yeah, you're so much better, quote unquote, than so many other people. You know, how are you perceiving yourself? Okay, the belief that I have to work hard. I can't have a 50,000 fucking dollar afternoon because I'm unworthy of that. My dad worked slaved in his business. I can't just show up and just go, boom, I just made what you slave for over a whole year and basically, burn your life force up for. I just made that in an afternoon. I don't want to show up my family, my friends by becoming financially free and basically creating passive income for myself. Don't deserve it. I'm unworthy of that. Okay. And even if I do make loads of money, the government's going to take half of it. So what's the point? You know? So they're just a few examples of the kinds of nonsensical narratives that can be going around inside the old noggin. Okay. So let's get into what self sabotage actually is. Okay. Here are 6 signs that hint you're in your own way. Okay. So despite all your years of life experience, your finances are worse. Okay. You haven't improved them, even though you should actually be more skilled at financial gain, given your age and experience. Okay. Your health is worse or hasn't improved, even though you should be more skilled at keeping yourself healthy. Okay, physically healthy, mentally healthy, energetically healthy. Okay, your relationships are worse, haven't improved, even though you should actually know yourself and your loved ones much better. Okay, happiness hasn't improved. You should be more skilled at improving your happiness. And then you find yourself becoming more addicted to things like coffee, caffeine, sugary drinks, alcohol, junk food, narcotics, THC, drama, stinking thinking, toxic medical drugs, TV, mobile phone, extreme workouts. Okay. Okay. So the hint is we generally use these kinds of distractions when we want to disconnect ourselves from a life we don't like living or when we wish to dull the pain of self judgment. So I've been there, right, with addictions for years, decades, when the alcohol stopped, it just transferred onto other shit, you know, coffee, absolutely. Coffee, sugary drinks, junk food. Skip that. I did go down a THC rabbit hole for a couple of years around 2016 when I got 2 frozen shoulders. But I wouldn't take the toxic medical drugs. I just wouldn't take painkillers because I saw myself as being the kind of person who would end up addicted to Percocet, overdosing and dying. I just got the awareness that no way. So I got addicted to weed instead. And the good thing about that is, you can't really kill yourself with it. But I did go down a rabbit hole for about 2.5 years with it. And when I started using hypnosis and, all the tools, energetic tools and all that kind of stuff, I found that I just cast it aside. I didn't need it anymore. Okay. So the 6th point is you put out effort, but nothing changes. Okay. You go through the motions, right? Oh, yeah, I'll join a gym. They just don't bother going. You buy loads of self-help shit and you just don't read it. Home exercise equipment, with the best of intentions, never use it. Okay. Lose weight, gain it back. Drop one addiction. Like I mentioned, you don't deal with the underlying cause. That was me for 13 years. Okay. So it then transfers to a host of new addictions. It was like fucking whack-a-mole. 13 years of, yay, addicted to all kinds of stuff. 1980s BMWs, a whole host of really shitty project cars, loads of money going into it, just money pits. That was one of mine. Like I mentioned, all the other stuff, coffee, sugar, all this kind of stuff. Okay. Affairs, stuff like that. Diets. You want to start a business, but you don't ask business people how they did it. Instead, you ask their family. You ask your family, and your family go, "Oh, why don't you just get a job?" Oh, my family, just get a job, just stack shelves. You know what I mean? No, be a rep. Just drive up and down the countryside for someone else's business. No, Not going to happen. It's just as well I don't listen to them. Okay. Again, relationships, you can end up chasing and being with romantic partners that never made you happy ever. But then you end up with the same personalities in different bodies. Okay. So you find that, you know, you're attracted to a host of mommy issues or daddy issues somewhere along the way. Okay. So all of this talk, all of this perceive action, you're just spinning your wheels, making it look like you're being productive. All these promises and mental contracts made with yourself and others, years go by, actually nothing changes. Okay. Decades can go by. In my case, it was 13 years. So why is all this self-sabotage occurring? Okay. So we're naturally hardwired to average ourselves into the tribe. Okay. Therefore, we're afraid of success. Don't want to be the tall poppy that loses its head. Okay. You don't want to stand out. For me, in my in my family, my dad said that I was the most naturally talented, and I had a older sister who tried to decimate me, put me in my box, and basically just not allow that because it was all about her getting the most attention. A lot of this stuff was happening unconsciously, from the age of 3. I was 3, and she was 7. You know what I mean? So all of that kind of nullification was in my universe from that age, so all of that stuff was in my programming. Okay. So it would have been terrible if I showed that I was the most talented out of all of us. It had to be her, you know? Yeah, it's interesting the way it works out and the way family dynamics are, you know? So you've got all of this kind of stuff in there, right? Then you've got the mainstream media upregulating that fear of success. It's like, so it's in there, and then it's like, oh my God, total terror, instant rejection of success. And I mean success in all levels, right? I've worked with people who achieved financial success, okay, but their perfectionistic tendencies didn't allow them to actually enjoy it, okay. So, what is success to you? It's such a big open-ended word. It could be success in all areas. It could be that you're financially free. You're also in, a really healthy, loving relationship that just contributes to you and you to it every single day. You could be absolutely, the picture of health. You're not poisoning yourself. You're not, indulging in all the toxins that are presented to us every day. You just don't buy into all that. You don't buy into the propaganda, everything that's just, thrown into our universe from media, television, you name it. Okay. So you're successful in all areas, not just a few. And you don't purposefully allow yourself to be unsuccessful in some areas just to make yourself more presentable to people because if you showed up with all cylinders like a V12 engine, you know what I mean, all cylinders firing, and that intimidates people, and you don't want to do that. You want to show that you're human. You just allow yourself to be you know uh firing on most cylinders, but they're like, yeah, but he has this Achilles heel, so therefore he's more acceptable to us. A lot of that stuff's happening unconsciously. But once we clear all that, once we clear the energetics, the deepest aspects of us, or quantum fields, subconscious programming, all of that then starts informing your conscious choices. Okay. So then we can break out of being small, keeping ourselves small, limited, and in perpetual struggle. Okay. So just know, right? Nobody's perfect. We all self sabotage to some degree. But it is actually easy to stop doing that once we understand what's happening. Okay. And like I've said before, subconscious or deeper mind or energetics drives our self sabotaging behavior. Okay. It's our defense and survival mechanism. And it's hardwired to mimic behaviors and other people in our environment to help us bond with these tribe members and somehow appear acceptable to them. Okay. Why is that? because for thousands of years, mimicking, if you see animals in the wild, or even, if you wave at some creature in the zoo, depending on what it is and the environment, often you can see them mimicking you. And it's not because they're being friendly. It's like, they're basically mirroring their environment. Okay, they're trying to make ourselves acceptable. So you can see that in the animal kingdoms. And then obviously you can see in the people kingdoms, virtue signalers. Especially on LinkedIn, if you like, they'll just go and see what the most people are saying. You see it with we need to talk about our mental health brigade. Your mental health. You take a day off to look after your mental health, and companies should take that on board, and then they advise people to, go out into nature and, do all these fucking surface level things and then go back into the toxic environment, and then they just end up taking another few days off, in a couple of weeks' time, because it doesn't actually move the needle for them. Anyway, I digress. They're looking to see what the bigger group is doing, thinking, saying, then they'll express that in order to fit in. So they're just living life in autopilot and in fear. They're afraid to grow a pair, of ovaries or whatever else, and stand out and be polarizing and have their own opinions. But I digress, right? So what happens if most people in our wider tribe or group are self-sabotaging? Oh, do I have to self-sabotage too? Or will I unconsciously self-sabotage to blend in with the larger tribe, So maybe they're doing things that reduce the possibility of their success, health, wealth, or happiness. And they're not even aware that they're being programmed to do all that by media. If you consider what's been happening over the last few years, people were propagandized to do things that they may not have chosen otherwise. Okay. So if you think about that, unfortunately, the subconscious doesn't consider the long-term consequences of its actions in the present moment. It actually prioritizes safety over happiness, joy, and thriving. Okay. So it may make a decision to blend in with everybody else around them that they might actually regret long term. Okay, so that's a big problem with regards to self-sabotage. And because the subconscious is so powerful, again, at least 95%, if not more, it really needs to be working for you, not against you. Okay, so let's go to the next one, right? You might have seen this before, or this concept. So it's like your subconscious is like a quantum computer. And research shows that your brain is inundated with 2 million bits of data per second. Okay, but your conscious mind can only process 130 bits per second. So you end up with all this junk clogging your subconscious mind. Okay, and it is ruling your life. Like you say, more than 95% of your decisions every day. So that's your environment. It should even be smaller than that. And then there's your subconscious mind hoovering up everything in your environment, things that you're not even consciously aware of, that needs to be maintained and cleared. Okay. So the subconscious is doing that to protect us, scanning the environment, looking for any dangers. Okay. But that can be a problem. Okay. So here's a quick example. So as an adult, right, John's terrified of airplanes. Okay. Why am I afraid of flying? There's a panic attack even just thinking about it. Okay. Even avoids going on holidays now. Where did that come from? Okay, well, at the age of 4, he saw a magazine cover with a plane on it, and at the very same time, a door slammed, startling him. All right, so his deeper mind associated fear with airplanes. A fear he experienced as a 4-year-old, still stuck in his subconscious mind. Okay, just creating that protective programming. Oh, you're not getting on that plane because remember? No, I don't remember. Okay, well, he could spend years in talk therapy trying to get the root of the problem. He can't even remember it. Okay, or he could release it in an instant using a deeper process that communicates with his subconscious mind. Okay, and that is what I do every day. There is a process called STEPS, subconscious therapeutic elimination of pains, subconscious programming, and so when we talk directly to the subconscious mind, we ask it to delete and remove any patterns, programs, or responses related to or causing that fear of flying. Subconscious will just go, yeah, okay, and it will just go through it like a quantum computer. Okay. We can ask it to do it as well in terms of analogies, like you remember the birds taking away stuff. The session tomorrow night will have an analogy that's very much like that as well, and the subconscious is just going to start releasing stuff that doesn't serve you. Okie dokie. So we'll crack on. Okay. Fair play. I know this is getting long. What I'm going to do is also just give the presentation as a document so you can just scan through it. So yeah. So in terms of the subconscious junk slowing us down, it's like many of us would actually like to go faster in life and business, but sometimes we don't take action. Okay. So why don't we make the changes even though we're suffering? Because what we really want is unfamiliar. Okay. So we do this new training, brilliant. And then we go back to doing the old stuff that we were doing before because we don't have the confidence and we have fear around actually pushing ourselves out. We don't want the challenge. Okay. And what we already have is safe, secure, familiar, and a much easier option. Okay. Than making the changes needed, even though we want to make the changes. So we remain in cycles of addictive behavior, procrastination, toxic relationships, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Social media, prescribed drugs, binge eating, skipping meals, starving ourselves, yo-yo diets. Excuse me, over-exercising, not exercising, starvation diets, not maintaining good health until a crisis occurs. Okay, and then not going for the root cause of that, the emotional aspect of it. Using self-destructive language, inner dialogues, then wasting energy, time, resources, and people, projects, products, etc., that don't serve us whatsoever. Okay, so we're in financial stagnation. Okay, and we know they're making our lives worse. Okay, they're all forms of self-sabotage. We know they're illogical and irrational, and we continue doing it. Okay, so if unchecked, it just goes deeper and gets more chronic. Chronic addictions, obesity, physical disease, anxiety, depression, financial ruination, broken dysfunctional relationships, not to mention unrealized dreams and a wasted life. Okay. It's getting dark now, but there is hope. Okay. We can reverse this cycle at any time. We can have the life we want. We can break free and become healthy, wealthy, happy, and safe. Okay. We can have it all. Tick all the boxes. You don't have to compromise on any of them. Okay. So the solutions are clear. Okay. The science shows, how and why. I've a raft of videos, right? But this is going to be long enough. So I will link to videos and other resources afterwards. So the solutions are clear. So there are ways to work with the subconscious and stop it mimicking the unhealthy behaviors. So we get it to mimic healthy behaviors, right? Simple. So we start flooding the subconscious with healthy behaviors. We get it to mimic these, okay? So the subconscious doesn't discern, right? I'm after skipping down here, but the subconscious doesn't discern between reality and what it sees on TV. So that's a good thing because we can actually flood it then. We can curate the content that we want to feed it instead of, falling asleep drunk on a Friday night, then allow infomercials to have their wicked way with your subconscious. You know what I mean? And before you know it, you've pulled out a credit card and you've bought a fucking set of 50 knives or something, some nonsense, So, it's important that we show it that we're in a healthy, happy, safe, wealthy tribe, So we upgrade our media diet and the people we surround ourselves with. Okay, so we mimic and we're in there and we let go of people who aren't going to come along for the ride and who are actually going to slow us down. And we just get out of the bucket of crabs finally. And, we don't allow them to drag us down anymore. Okay. So we watch and flood our subconscious with inspiring, life-informing, affirming, energizing, expansive, and supportive content. Okay. We flood our subconscious with this. I know I'm using repetition now. So then it's going to start mimicking that behavior instead of the old unhealthy content from unhealthy tribes. Okay. So combine this with the solutions on the next few slides. It'll make a massive difference to your life. So we've got some actions and tools to help you release those blocks and stop self-sabotage. Okay. First line of action doesn't involve doing anything. Okay. We can use the hypnotic and energetic sessions like the one we did last night and the one we're going to do tomorrow night. Shift the programming at the deepest levels possible. Okay. I have a free audio. You've probably seen some of my audios. You've probably experienced one or two of them. Okay. So just use them. Attend the live events. And also, highly recommend using the reality creation technique by Fred Dodson. Okay. So this involves acting as if your wish has already come true. Okay. So what you're doing is you're making your subconscious think that all of this stuff is totally normal. Okay. You go and visit that house that you want to buy. You go through all the rooms. You write about it as if it's in the past tense. This is called reality scripting. Okay, so you journal about things that happened last week in that house that you now live in. Okay, that's what you're saying. You're normalizing it completely, so it's part of your reality. It's not just something in the future or a possibility. Okay, and you let go of resistances and desires around all that, because resistances and desires, there's a complex energetic counterpart and counterplay going on with these, right? If you have a lot of resistances to something, you also have unconscious desires to something. Okay. If you have a huge desire for something, then you have unconscious resistances to it as well. So any extremes and polarities here it's just going to be hard work. Okay. So if you prefer to have something, it's just like see the energetic charge in that, so different. So if you prefer something, it's much more casual. It's normalized. It's in your field. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? So it's like, if it's no big deal, it's totally normal, then you can pull it into your reality. It's in your reality and you can start pulling all that stuff in like a magnet. Okay. So I highly recommend the book by, the book called The Reality Creation Technique by Fred Dodson. Just amazing stuff. Then you've got access consciousness. You find loads of tools on YouTube. One of my favorites is Who Does This Belong To? You know, some kind of thoughts popping into your head. And it's like, where the fuck did that come from? It's like, who does this belong to? And then, and if it lightens up, then it's actually not yours. You're just picking it up psychically. Yeah. You can return it to sender with consciousness attached. And if you actually use that tool if you use it for about 3 days, you just be like a walking, talking meditation. It's amazing, actually, how much you can clear out of your energy field that doesn't actually belong to you. Okay. And then you've got this interesting point of view. So you're going out of judgment, you're going out of resistance and reaction. So you've got the resistances and desires, resistance and reaction here. There's a bit of a crossover here, you know? So you're going interesting point of view. You're taking neutrality. You're using preferences, neutrality. You're stepping out of resistances and reactions, alignments and agreements and desires. And you're just normalizing everything. You know, you don't have that big energetic charge around something. You're ending up not pushing stuff away that you're looking for in your reality by needing and wanting and desiring it so much. You know, it's just running away from you. Okay. I love these questions. If you fired everyone from your life today, who would you hire back tomorrow? Or if everyone died that you know today, and you could resurrect some of them, depending on your proclivity for drama, who would you resurrect? Who would you hire back? Okay, do a list. And also list 3 to 10 things that would have to change to make your life much more enjoyable than it's supposed to be or than it is now. Okay, so thousands of tools like these. You can pick up your own as the years, months, and decades go by. But also it's important to mention some basic fundamentals, making sure your toxic load in your body is low, you know, because if it's high, you're not going to think as clearly as you could otherwise. Okay. So basically, stop poisoning yourself because it disturbs brain function. Okay, beware of what you're putting into your body. Okay, I have a list of 50 things. If you want the full list, let me know. But obviously, we've touched on this already: alcohol, pharma, caffeine, nicotine, sugar, additives, preservatives, fast food, narcotics, BPA, plastics, resins. Okay, it's coated on the insides of drink cans, it's in the water supply, it's on receipts that you get. It's everywhere, you know. You've got this personal care cleaning products, you've got chemicals, you've got Teflon, aluminium, heavy metals, fluoride. Okay. So this isn't to freak you out, it's just to make you aware of this stuff. So you know that all of these 50 things combined can create a toxicity level in your environment that isn't conducive to thinking clearly. Okay. And then, right, because you're not thinking clearly, what about your media diet as well, right? It's all the TV, movies, radio, Hollywood, Hollyweird, you know, written propaganda. You need to replace all this stuff. I'm not saying cut it out 100%. You replace it with all of these supportive, expansive, energizing contents that we've already mentioned that align with your core mission and values. Okay. Why is that? Because, well, actually, when you're in the cinema or when you're watching TV, you're focused on a single point of attention and you are in an alpha brainwave state. Okay. So you are actually hypnotized and you're soaking up everything. Okay. Not just the things in the foreground, not just the actors and the scripts. You're also picking up on the subliminal messages. What are they actually doing? And what are the things and symbols and items placed into the background that you're not even consciously aware of, but your subconscious is soaking up, right? So, like I say, there are 2 million bits of information in your environment per second, and consciously you're only picking up on maximum 130 bits, and your subconscious is picking up on 11 million bits. When you're a child, it's 20 million. So it's just the floodgates are open, right? Just be aware that we are being programmed to keep us average and controllable. I guess, if you ran the world, you would actually have to control the general population. You know what I mean? Because otherwise it would be nuts, So again, what are the remedies? Again, upgrading the people you're surrounding with. If they're dragging you down, you got to get out of there. Okay. It doesn't matter who they are. Okay. You have to create your own tribe around you. Does your current tribe inspire or limit you? Okay. So if the majority of the tribe are working meaningless 9-to-5 jobs that they absolutely hate, that they complain about all the time, and then they self-medicate their way through it, if you're in that kind of tribe, you need to get out of that tribe. Okay. If you find yourself conforming to lower standards than you'd like, you need to change that. Okay. Is it happening automatically? Okay. So we can change our tribes by changing the media we consume and the people we socialize with, thereby signaling to the subconscious, this new tribe is healthy, wealthy, happy, and safe. And so am I. Okay. So then we've got some basics here, increase the health in mind and body. Super simple. So simple that you mightn't even do it. Okay. Practice gratitude and appreciation every single day. Write, state your intentions in writing using I have, I am, I allow language in present and past tenses. 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 That's the reality creation scripting that I mentioned already. Then you release any counter intentions, any limiting beliefs that you have. So you write what you're looking for in your life, and then if anything comes up that goes against that, then you just release that energetically by repeating your intentions again. Okay. You challenge yourself daily with self-improvement materials that just really challenge your thinking and they confront your beliefs. Okay. Make your brain hurt. Always be chipping away at a larger overall plan or project. Use liminal thinking to break unhelpful patterns and routines. Just do totally different things to what you usually do. Okay. There's a book called Liminal Thinking by Dave Gray, which is brilliant. Just break out of the ruts that you normally find yourself in. Okay, simple for the body. Just rehydrate. Just keep drinking loads of water, filtered water at room temperatures. Make sure your sleep is dialed in. Some people sell how to sleep for $297. You know what I mean? Eat the healthy food that your body likes. You know what I mean? Test for any allergies. Everybody is different. So I'm not going to lecture you on whether you should be a carnivore or a vegan or an omnivore or whatever. You know, avoid dairy, blah, 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 blah. For me, I'm a carnivore. I avoid dairy as much as possible. And I avoid vegetables that secrete toxins that my body doesn't like. Okay. Exercise every day, meditate every day. You know, I've recordings, they're like 15 minutes. There's no real excuse. You can do it yourself or you can do guided stuff. There's an app called Insight Timer. I've got a couple of recordings on there, but you'll find thousands of recordings on there, and some of them are about 5 minutes long. Okay. And they're free. Okay. So find time to unwind and relax every day. Okay. Detox from technology as much as possible. You know, take a day out, maybe once a week. No technology. Imagine that. So what we're trying to create here is happy body, happy mind, happy life, happy business. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there because I know I've gone on for quite a long period of time. Ask me any questions. Ask me for the videos that I mentioned. Ask me for any resources. If consuming this has created something that you're looking for, just you have an opportunity to ask me, okay? So ask me over the next few days. Drop any questions you may have in the Ask Me Anything post. I'll get around to everything on Thursday, or we can just chat about it, or I might just drop in a video or whatever, some other point over the next 3 to 4 days. Okay? Be well. Talk to you later. Bye.